Last summer I recorded a video in which I shared that I don't just carry first aid equipment in my first aid bag, but that I also carry some sort of personal health and hygiene equipment, toothpaste, toothbrush, some soap flakes, things like that, but that I also carry some kit and equipment to maintain and repair my kit and equipment. I think I cunningly called it Craig's Kit Care Kit. I asked in that first video if anybody would like to see the contents of Craig's Kit Care Kit. Many of you said yes, so here's that video. I'm pleased to say it's so sunny that it's cap weather, so if you'll excuse me for hiding under this peak. Let's have a look inside this first aid bag then. Let's have a look at this kit care kit that I carry with me in no particular order. This is all stored in a small lock sack, by the way. So the first thing that I carry in here is a very, very small Swiss Army knife, incredibly small. It's actually smaller than my little finger, than my pinky. So a very, very small Swiss Army knife. It contains a toothpick, a pair of tweezers, a typical standard blade, a flat-headed screwdriver, and a pair of scissors. So if I need to do anything and I need to cut into or do something quite invasive or somewhat destructive with my equipment in order to repair it, then I've got the capability within that very, very small, lightweight Swiss Army knife to be able to do that. What else do I carry in here then? This rubberized piece of kit you see here, quite flexible, quite tough. Within there is an incredibly heavy gauge piece of wire. The coating on the outside gives me that ability to kind of handle this quite safely, and I can twist and bend and twizzle this, there's a word you don't hear very often, twizzle this in all sorts of different configurations and contortions. For me, this is like carrying a cable tie, but it's better in my opinion because it's more sustainable. Unless you faff around with cable ties, once you've used them, they're pretty much single purpose. You normally cut them to get them off, and when they're cut, they're gone, they're adding to sort of landfill and plastic waste, whereas this, I've used this many, many times for different things, and it's reusable. So for me, there's some sustainability aspects there over just using a cable tie. I will drop in the description below a link to both of these so far, so you can actually take a closer look at them if you wish. Next up is a staple of many outdoors people kit and equipment, and that is a small pack of tear aid patches. Now I get a sense from looking at the website that these are an American thing that have made their way over to the UK, and I read lots and lots of good reports about them. They come in two types, type A and type B. There's a couple of small patches that come within this, but primarily it's just one big piece of patch. And of course, in conjunction with my scissors, I can cut that down to just the right size to repair my equipment. What else is in here? Final thing that's in here, 3 for the price of 1, is a good old-fashioned roll of Gorilla tape. I always fold the end of my tape over. I've made a previous video on what the purpose of doing that is. So there's a decent, good few 10-15 meters of tape there to affect a simple repair on a tent, something that strips, something that I want to give a temporary waterproofness to, and I don't want to faff around with a tear aid patch. I could use this, if ever my boots fell apart, for taping the sole of my boot back to the upper of my boot. So lots and lots of purposes and use cases for tape. What I do with my tape though, if you just take a look at this, if I unfurl this, you'll actually notice there that I use my tape to safely store a needle and a safety pin. Firstly, because needles and safety pins, dead easy to drop, dead easy to lose. You've got no chance of finding them again if you do drop them at home, let alone in the outdoors. And of course, the other purpose of doing that, particularly with the needle, is it protects me, but more importantly, it protects my equipment. If this is just rattling, rounding something, there's a very good chance it's going to pierce something, burst something, could be me, could be my thermarest or something like that on my tent. By keeping it taped in here, I can make sure that there's no chance that this is going to accidentally work its way out of something and pierce something that I don't want piercing. So my tape doubles up. Yes, it's equipment in itself, but it also acts as safe and secure storage for that needle and safety pin. So they're the obvious things that I carry in this lock sack. There is one other thing that I carry, but its primary purpose is not to repair my equipment. It is, he says, going diving for it, to floss my teeth. I carry a small fold-up plastic toothbrush here, and on the handle of that toothbrush, I'm just going to unfurl a little bit of it so you can see. There we go. I carry some dental floss. Now, of course, the primary purpose of this is to floss my teeth, but dental floss makes incredibly accessible and strong thread. So in conjunction with that needle that you've just seen me use, I've now got some thread, strong thread, that I can use to effect some temporary repairs when I'm out on the hill. Again, it's not its primary purpose, which is why it's not really carried in my care kits bag itself. Its primary purpose is for dental hygiene, which is why it's carried with the toothbrush. But again, all those component parts are carried in this bag here. Now, just a second ago, I used the word temporary repair. Let me come back to that and explain why I wanted to stress the word temporary repair. If I need to effect a repair on my kit when I'm in the great outdoors, that's all I want to do. I just want to repair it. I want to stop it leaking, fraying, tearing anymore. I want to reconnect A back onto B again. That's all I want to do. I want to solve the problem that the damage has created. I'm not in the slightest bit interested in making it look pretty, aesthetically pleasing. I don't care how silly it looks. I don't care how much of a bod job it looks like. I just want to solve the problem that the damage has created. When I get home, I can get it, you spend more time getting it repaired, either myself, Mrs. T is a dab hand on the machine, or sewing machine, or I can get it sent away and get it professionally done. When I'm out on the hill, I just want to solve the problem the damage has created. Making it look pretty, I can worry about on another day. And that's why in that repair kit you've just seen, there's not a great deal there. It's fairly basic. I've tried to put items in there that can cover a multitude of purposes. The penknife, the tape, the needle, the safety pin, the tear aid patches, the rubberized, plasticized, flexible cable, the thread in the guise of dental floss. All of those things together and some MacGyver thinking should allow me to bodge a repair on something, fix the problem until I get back home and I can get it solved more professionally. If you're sat there scratching your head thinking, why does Craig carry more than just first aid kit in his first aid kit bag? Is he committing some form of cardinal sin when it comes to first aid kit and equipment? If you sat there thinking about these things, then check out the video that's appearing in the top corner of your screen now, in which I talk about my thinking and my logic as to why I don't just carry first aid kit in my first aid kit bag.